Good evening, everyone. So, currently, I'm just sitting here waiting for my video about the new Shadow Isles animated short to process so I can put ads on it and, like, links and just finish up processing the damn thing myself.
Waiting for my
Whoa,
video
shit.
about the new Shadow Isles animated short to
Oops, that was not supposed to happen. I accidentally have the stream open in a different window. I'm waiting for my Shadow Isles video to process fully, so I can actually, you know, do this fucking thing, but YouTube is being real fucking slow, so I'm gonna keep an eye on that. But in the meantime, we're just gonna get into this, because, frankly, goddammit YouTube, goddammit Riot, you bastards, all of you. I don't want to wait anymore. So, Journey is a game I know quite well. I played it all the way back on the PS3, like when it first came out. And it was, at the time when I finished it, it was one of the most emotional experiences I've ever had in a video game. I was not ready for what that game was. I didn't know what it was. I just, oh, it's gotten good reviews. I guess I'll click on that. But I had no idea what it really was, what it really entailed. And so I stumbled into it, sort of pretty much blind, and it's quite an experience. It's been years since I last played it. It's been years since I even tried to get into this game. I've kind of been scared to go back a little bit. Because, like, this was an important game to me, and if I go back to it, will it be as good as I remember it? There's a real chance it won't be, and that hurts when that happens, when the thing that you love isn't quite how you remember it. So I've been worried about playing Journey again. But the Discord voted on it. So this is what we're gonna do. So how's the audio, by the way? Welcome to Journey. This is our journeyer, our little dude. And this is our environment. Now, let me just go and check on the goddamn video if it has processed. I'm gonna do that a couple of times, because it should be processed by now. It should have been processed 10 minutes ago. And in the meantime, let's talk about color for a second. Because Journey is one of the most breathtakingly gorgeous games in terms of color that I've ever played. Think about the color red, for example, what that generally represents, what it stands in for. It tends to be, you know, vitality, blood, love, life in general. And then there's the soundtrack. God damn. The soundtrack. I listen to it often. Because it's just so pretty. But anyway, color. Notice the color of the sand underneath my feet on this hill right now versus the color of the sand in the distance. That helps maintain, like, if all the sand had exactly the same color, gauging distance would be really hard, but lighting and color is used very effectively in this game to communicate what's going on. Also notice where we're standing right now, what we're standing next to, and where we're about to go. What do those things look like? Gravestones. So, this is one of the primary game mechanics, the jump, and very floaty jump. As you can see, it's recharged by contact with other bits of fabric. And fabric itself, like the fabric of the cloak that our journeyer is wearing, is an important part of, like, the meta text of the game as well, the ways in which we interact with life and with each other. And also, like, silent bit of storytelling, you know that the mountain is where you're supposed to go. You know that from the moment you climb the crest of that hill back there. That's your destination. And you know that because, well, look at it. Like, look at it. Of course it is. All the lines of the clouds in the sky point you in this direction, and then there is the mountain. Grand and glorious, just waiting for you. Now, as you can see, I've spent my jump. I cannot jump anymore right now because my scarf is empty of those glowing little symbols. Fortunately, there are ways to recharge. And the scarf allows us to go a bit faster, because the jump is a lot faster than the walk. And so here's our first fork in the road. We can go down there. Or we can go see what might be over here. And so we will. So, Journey, like if you understand the reference of the title, you probably understand quite a lot of the game already, because it's the journey, as in the hero's journey. Like that Joseph Campbell Hero with 1,000 Faces style journey of a person from one state to another, and it follows that particular formula in some ways very closely, and in some ways not at all. So that there was my call, which is used to interact with many things, like, for example, these tableaus, which, in case you didn't quite get it yet, they are shapes of journeyers, much like me, with their cloaks, lying down underneath the gravestones. So now you know where we are, if it hadn't, you know, come across already. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Anyway, the video has finally finished processing, so I'm just gonna take a sec and actually make this thing public, because god damn it, Riot, this is the worst possible timing. Okay, This is the problem, is like I stream for fun, but making videos is my job, so sometimes they come into conflict. Maybe I should have pushed this a little further. But in the meantime, just enjoy the ambiance. That's the other thing about Journey. It's a game that, like, you will want to move a lot, you'll want to go forward, but just doing this for a while and just listening to that rumble. Anyway, the Shadow Isles animation breakdown is now live on my channel, and I can stop looking at this nonsense and start looking at chat again. Which means I need to log into my other YouTube account. God damn it. Come on. Slow thing. There we go. Good. Now, let's give this our full attention. So, go downhill on a sand dune, and you slide. Which is one of the most fun things in terms of gameplay mechanic, is just... whee! And so we also get a lot of environmental storytelling from just this. Like, this is the classic hallmark of a place where there was once a great civilization, but it's fallen to ruin because of something. Specifically in this case, apparently because sand. Also, you'll find runes hanging around the place, and the runes extend your scarf, which extends your jump. Which means I'm no longer consuming all of my jump power with one jump, but I can do 2 jumps. Okay, little floaty scarf boys. Need a hand here. Yo. Please? No? Need to jump up and get the rune. So, the runes are collectibles, and they're hidden all over this game. A lot of them in very out-of-the-way places that you really have to either already know about or be guided to by others. The frame rate is quite low. How so? I'm looking at 60. I'm not streaming at 60, I'm streaming at 30, but you guys should be, Whee! Oh, it's lag on YouTube's end? Yeah, sorry about that. So, as you saw there, my call, my note of music can revive dead cloth. Bring it back to life. In a sense. light of the mountains bring life. Life to the land, life to the people. And from that life, the scarves. The cloth. So, those are gravestones, and that right there is a tomb that we just communed with, we just talked to. As you can see, there's plenty more around. Well, we can't access this yet. Because, well, because you'll see. You'll see. Whoop. And we have to do this again. I don't know how to communicate to you how it feels to play this game. Everything is very slow, very deliberate. As you can see, like, the camera moves around slowly. My character is not especially in any hurry. Like, the fastest you ever go is when you fly. But also, like, just turning them around is like, ugh, it's like moving through molasses a little bit. But all of that ties in so well with the mood of the game, with the feeling, with the sound design. Like, that slow-moving pace you've got. It all ties together very nicely. And if you're willing, like, if you want to play the game fast, if you just want to get through it and see everything, I imagine it must be quite annoying. Like, I don't think this is very fun to play if that's kind of the feeling that you approach it with. But if you approach it with more of a... Well, if you approach it like a journey, like just... like you're just traveling through a place, it becomes a very different experience. So, take note that those things contain red scarves. They contain that power of the mountain, that power of life that we saw the civilization start to discover. So right now we're trying to restore the bridges up there. But also... yeah. Little help. Thank you. And like I said, a lot of this is hidden. But here we can see the ancient city that once stood in the sands. And I haven't found all the secrets in Journey, by the way, not by a long shot. There's a lot of stuff that's there that I've never seen before. So I can't show you everything in this particular playthrough. You'll have to discover the rest for yourself, and I highly recommend it, too. Da, 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 da. Look at the sand, like ocean waves. I mean, this game is just so pretty. So many games that, like, if you look at the modern indie space especially, and games that kind of try for that sort of emotional game indie aesthetic, a lot of them will do this. Like, they will try for that simplistic, stylized, like, very flat color spaces kind of aesthetic that Journey has got going on. Give me a boost, guys. Thank you. Have I seen the Self-Love animated short by Game Grumps? Nope. Bum, bum. And now, with a few runes collected, as you can see, we can fly quite a distance, which is nice. Oh yeah, like the meetings you have in this game are fantastic. And I kind of don't want to talk too much, because this isn't really a talky game. I don't think. It's not really a game that benefits from being talked over that much. Okay, I think I've got the runes in this area. Think. Probably I'm missing one, but I'm kind of okay with that. So, this is a game that has a kind of Dark Souls approach to multiplayer. Which is a weird thing to say, but it does. occasionally you might run into other players. You can't really... There's nothing you can really meaningfully do with other players. You don't need them for co-op puzzles or anything like that. But you can travel together if you want. Go through this world together if you want. And it can be a huge part of the experience. But also a completely optional one. Oh, I think there may be another player in the area, actually. Notice, by the way, how the Grand White Elders are also identified with the mountain. Like, they have the same shape as the mountain. And are framed against the mountain. So, the civilization builds towers, bridges, just buildings. And through it all, the power of the red scarves. The lifeblood of the whole thing. It's interesting how we read the Journeyer as gender neutral, but the huge white elder is female. Yeah, I mean, I think it sort of depends on your perspective. I know some people read the Journeyer as male, which it isn't. Like, the Journeyer has no gender, really, and neither do the elders, for that matter. But it is because the color of white, like, is more, it's associated with virgins and with, like, weddings and things like that. So it is more feminine associated than male. This was made in, 2012, sometime around the early 2010s. And look how the color has shifted again. The sands used to be yellow, but now they're pink. I swear, every still from this game is a screenshot. Or is a wallpaper, rather. And look at that. Some shred of power emerged from the mountain and is floating back down to the world. Anyway, welcome to the Cotton Candy Dunes. A very different area than the previous one. Still, ruins scattered around it, but nothing like the construction we saw in the previous area. This is much more of just a bare landscape of hills. I recommend you take a look at the first look of a game called The Last Campfire after the stream. I'll try and keep that in mind. So this is pretty much just like a huge open area. And as you can see out there, runes are present, but it's a bit more work to get to them. But yeah, things will be revealed as we go on, and once we're done with the game, I'll do a recap. and try and give you at least my interpretation of the game and the meanings that it embodies. Thanks for the help, buddy. So this is one of the brilliant things about the animation in this game, is the ways that it implies life. Like the little scarves embody like fish and things like that. And you can see it too with the journeyer as they fly through the air. They swim. They don't, like, it's not really flying, it's swimming that you're doing. Which I think is lovely because that's such a wonderful contrast with the desert environment. Is to play pretend at, like, at swimming. At being in the ocean. Thanks. This also just feels so playful. So, the people amid fields and fields and fields of, well, produce, agriculture. Success as a civilization, as it were. And also note what's being established with the little ones here is that togetherness gives you the power to fly. Like, togetherness empowers you in your journey through the world. You're no longer bound to the ground, but you can soar. So long as someone else is there with you. Alright, the other runes. And there's another one. And another one. Oh, I think Journey must have been a massive inspiration on the character of Bard in League of Legends, frankly. Like, it's easy to see a lot of him emerging from this kind of thing, as well as, you know, other influences like Ghibli movies and things like that. Anyway, let's go get the other rune. I'll regret it if I don't grab it. Not because I need it as such, but just because it's nice to have. I don't know how much of the sound you can hear on stream, but listen to the rumble, like that low... It's not threatening, but it is ominous. Thanks, little friend. I should just be able to make it. Yay! So again, use of color. Notice how these gray boxes are a completely different sensibility than sort of the red sandstone of the rest of the constructions around here. They seem different in like a vague way. Not explicitly, but just a bit different. Let's see. Was there anything else in this area? I don't remember. I don't think there is. I think it is just the rune. Well, fair enough then. What are you guys doing over there? Where do you want me to go? Ah, I see. The last of your friends. And so here we see the civilization building something else. I hope my 4-year-old daughter can play it too. I think she can, because it's kind of impossible to lose this game, as such. Like, there isn't really a failure state. But there is challenge, like, again, not in the traditional gamer sense, but there is. Anyway, this is where the rumbling is coming from. And again, see the colors shift. Quite decisively, too. My flying buddies are not too keen to follow me in here. Somewhat understandably. So the little ones are trying to free their trapped brethren, as it were. And oh, hey, look. Those look familiar, don't they? Almost like it's some kind of a factory or something. Yeah, I'm missing one rune from this area, but I'm okay with that. But yeah, again, as people are pointing out in chat, the turquoise, that glowing turquoise, the eyes on those things inside the machinery, they look wrong. You're getting frame drops. Yeah. I mean, it's not on my end as far as I can tell. As far as I can tell, it's YouTube. Because I'm not dropping any frames, but YouTube definitely is. But yeah, but reloading might help. Anyway, once again, see the civilization building. See them replacing the plants and the natural world with construction. See them rising, rising, rising. Almost as though they're building their own mountain. No option to stop here. So there's a bunch of runes available if you choose the right paths to slide down, but I don't remember which ones they are. But you're not really supposed to find everything here the first time around. But this is one of the most fun parts of the game. And also, frankly, one of the most gorgeous. Look at this. And look at this when we get there. I mean, look at that. Now, let's see. Because there's one up there. There's one over there, I believe. But yeah, this is a game that I think very well understands the true meaning of making a game cinematic. Because it's not just we try to shoot and score it like a film, it's... like, it's cinematic in a way that only games can really be, I think. Oh yes, the Journeyer's Scarf grows with every rune we find. Nice, that's one. And the others, I think, are over there somewhere. Thanks, little ones. Another mural of the people inhabiting their new cities. Let me see if I can remember where to find them. Oh wait, isn't there one behind the sandfall? Am I remembering that wrong? But yeah, runes get harder and harder to find as you go through the game. They get more and more well hidden. And I don't know where all of them are at all. Okay. I think I managed to get back. So, that was a little crash there. Unfortunately. So I know what caused it, by the way. I fully know what caused the crash. I got a little overconfident with my computer. I told it to, let me just hang on. There we go. Look better. So I set all the graphics settings of this game to absolute maximum, and I don't think my processor could handle that. Because I have a very good graphics card, actually, but my processor is a little old, and sometimes when I push it a little bit too hard, it gets temperamental. So I'm just going to start the game up again, and tell my graphics tell the game to run at a slightly lower graphics fidelity, and give it another shot. That's what happened. I really just wanted to show you guys the game at its most beautiful. My processor is a Core i5 8400 or something. It's like 2.8 gigahertz. Okay. I should have most of my progress saved, so that's nice, but we'll just... turn this down to... maybe a bit more. A bit more conservative. It's still a beautiful game at lower settings. And it crashed when I told it to do that. That's great. Please tell me at least the graphics settings saved. They did. Good. Let's try that again. Yeah, I think I got it. I think I got it. No. We get to see this again. Oh, Iggy, you should absolutely play this game. It's gorgeous, and it's such a lovely experience. It was free on the Epic Game Store a little while back, which it won't be anymore, but it's still on there. And I think it's cheap, since it's so old. I love that meaty sound when you go through the arches, like... And once again, one of the runes is on one of the paths down here. But obsessing over finding it is missing the point of the game in a lot of ways. When this is so much more fun. And notice the color shifting again. From pink to this. It's so gorgeous. I hope the YouTube stream isn't compressing the shit out of it too much, because... Welcome down. Power fades, the lights go out. They fight over what remains. and build machines to do the fighting for them. Almost as though overexploitation of resources is bad or something. And the colors shift again. Journey isn't just a journey through, like, a hero's journey, or like a journey through a world. It's a journey through colors. And now we're in the deep. And this is where the imagery of the little scarf creatures as fish really comes into play. And where the lovely contrast, where up in the sand dunes, everything was red and orange, which is a very complementary color for the browns and grays and yellows of the sands. Down here, they're a contrast. And you can even see it on the animation of the little things, that they are a little bit more skittish down here. This is just so pretty, though. And it's such a, like, that's the thing that's also very good about Journey, is the way that they introduce most of the imagery you'll see in the game in the very first bits of it. And then they just iterate and iterate and iterate and find new ways to present these images. Like, for instance, the long flowing scarves. Like, instead of having them float in the wind, now they seem to be floating in water, almost. Like seaweed. And instead of looking like birds, perhaps, these creatures look more and more like fish every passing moment. And jellies. And your character, at least in my estimation, also moves slower down here. Like, I don't know if it's just the environment and the fact that the camera is pulled so far back, but everything feels slower and more sluggish. Everything feels a little bit more, you know, This is probably fine. This is fine. Anyway, try not to get seen by those guys. So these are the weapons, by the way. You recognize those shapes? They were lying around in pieces out in the deserts. The battlefields. They were made to seize the power of the scarves. As you can see, factories pumping these beasties out. And I remember the first time I played through this section. Some of the scariest gaming I've ever done in my life. Even now I'm tense. And the music doesn't make it less tense. No, 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 no. I'm not here. You're not seeing me. I'm not even a real person. I've never existed. See, that's a trap there. If you go down the middle, that one catches you no matter what you do. Let me just... Hello. Hi, hello. How are you doing? Okay, does he do like a figure 8? Does he come back around? Looks like it. Yeah. No, 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 no. I'm an itty bitty fish in a deep blue sea. Won't somebody help me? But yeah, it's both the colors and the framing of this place that makes this such an effective scare. Because... Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Nope! Ah! No, 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 no! Bet you thought they had me. But even though I know that this is, you know, safe, as it were, doesn't make it less scary. Now let me see. I don't remember if there's any more stuff around the edges here. I don't think so. But yeah, that scared the pants off me when I played this the first time. Like, just the absolute pants off me. So, fields of corpses. And in the aftermath of war, the civilization crumbles and is covered in sand, with only the tombstones remaining. And then look who's there. One thing that's a little disappointing is that I haven't run into anyone else yet. That kind of sucks a little bit, because this game is best experienced when you're journeying through it with someone else. That's how I experienced it the first time I did it. And that's part of what made it such a powerful game to me. So, down in that stuff, I have infinite flight. Everywhere else, I do not. Let's see if I can make it up here. Yes. Because then they can help me over there. See, it's almost as though my journey has been predicted, isn't it? Now let's see, I think one of the runes is down here somewhere on the bottom. But I genuinely don't remember. Not that it matters that much. Just listen to that music, man. How gorgeous is this? Well, there's one up there, it looks like. Or something else. Oh no, over there. There you are. Another player showed me this. This, by the way, is one of the most amazing things about the way this game is designed, because I could show you if there was another player, but you can't hinder someone else. There's functionally no way to troll in this game except to run away from someone or try to lead them somewhere that's not useful to go. But that's it. That's the worst thing you could possibly do, is to just, like, maybe waste 2 minutes of someone's time. And so I never encountered a player who tried to do anything like that. Every player I've encountered they've just shown me stuff. Shown me things that I might have missed, collectibles, murals like this one. They've only been helpful and tried to guide me through the journey as well. Speaking of which, hey, that's the most recent thing we just did. I've got quite the scarf now, don't I? And again, like I said, reappropriating the shapes that have already been introduced in order to do new things with them. One of the coolest things that this game does from a design perspective. I like this game so much. And no, it's not the same as the first time I played it, because how could it be, but I'm still really glad. And also just in terms of the variety of gameplay that they do manage to create. Because, like again, as you've seen, I only have a few options. I can walk around, I can fly, I can sing. That's it. That's the entirety of my moveset, is that. But the variety of things that there is to do in this game nonetheless. Like some areas where you can float all the time. That area with like the seaweeds flying up where you can fly so long as you're close to those. The bit in the desert with the little floaty friends, like the little fish friends that you can kind of ride on for a brief distance. All of that. Like, there's a variety in gameplay. Despite never introducing new mechanics, really. That's a very large elder. But yeah, here's our journey. There's the tower we just climbed, and here is the next stage. And as someone is pointing out in chat, yeah, collecting all the runes doesn't really... It's not important as such. It's just nice to have, like, the ability to... Whee! But it's not like... It's not like it's necessary at all. The runes have a different function, which we'll talk about later. So... Watch the colors shift again. And look at our scarf, too, while you're at it. See how quickly it drains? Oh, and by the way, they're back. So that's fun. Nope. These two are grave markers, by the way. This is how far those who came before us managed to make it. We're sheltering in the shade of their accomplishments, as it were. The cloth physics in this game are amazing, by the way. Just thought I'd bring that up. So if you have someone else with you, this part becomes easier. Because you can sing to each other to restore each other's scarves and give each other strength. And make it a lot easier to make it across windy plains like this one. And so when I played this for the first time, I had someone with me who we just sang to each other all the time to keep each other's strength up. We just encouraged each other through the climb. Like this little guy is doing right now. Uh-oh. By the way, the sun is gone, but the moon is still here. Please don't. We haven't seen graves for a while, by the way. There weren't a lot of them in the depths, and there were none of them in the tower. But they're back now. And again, traveling through this is molasses. It's like walking through tar. Your character moves so slowly. Again, color. But also notice that even for all their help, my scarf is still diminishing quickly. Uh-oh. Yeah. No, 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 no. Where is it? Yeah, there he is. Hello. Go away. By the way, my song has gotten a lot weaker. Okay. There he is. Oh, is it that way? The game gently guides you. Like, if you wander too far off the path, it'll hit you with a wall of wind and push you back. They all came to the mountain. All the ones before us. And the soundtrack in this game is just an absolute masterwork, frankly. By the way, my controller rumbles with every step right now. The mountain is fairly close, by the way. It's right up there. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Okay, slow and steady. Slow and steady. They don't kill you if they attack you, by the way. But you still don't want it to happen, 'cause it's scary as hell. By the way, this is not at all the point, but I love the texture work in this game. Look at the walls. Barely more than, like, some dithered pixel art textures, basically, frankly. But it sells the visual of these giant imposing rocks so well. And now a little moment of respite, where we get to fly again for a second. But only for a second. The way this game manages tension is masterful. Like the moments when you're hiding from the snake, and then these moments like that where you just find a little bit of respite and peace from it all. I can barely sing at all now. That is, to the best of my knowledge, an unavoidable fall. I wish I had someone with me right now. There are no more graves up here, by the way. Well, except for that one. Because almost nobody ever made it this far. I can't sing at all anymore, by the way. Apotheosis, as someone mentions in chat. And notice the colors shifting again, by the way. Down there, everything was desaturated. There was barely any color to be found at all, but up here... And notice how we're repeating our journey a little bit again. Past the bridges, past the seaweed. Up the tower. Almost as though the whole journey itself was just in preparation for by the way, this is also the first time in the game we've ever encountered water. And the water flows from the mountain's top into the desert. That was 2 players, by the way. I knew there was someone. I just didn't get to see them. Well, Game Bird, I hope you had a good journey. So yeah, that is Journey. We're right back where the game started, and it's not quite over yet. Almost, but, you know. So, 2 things to note. At the end of the game, when we're climbing up the final ascent up the mountain, we go through kind of a microcosm of the journey we've been through already, like with the bridges and with the seaweed and the jellyfish and the tower and the whole thing. And you can kind of read that as your life flashing before your eyes. That kind of a metaphor. And the game itself is structured, like I said at the start, very heavily around the Joseph Campbellian, sort of the archetypical hero's journey. And if you have the chart that Campbell made of that particular hero's journey, you can kind of just go through the game and pinpoint each bit on the chart, the things that happen and how it works. But much more specifically, it's the classic 3-act story structure. Like, it's the classic, like, the beginning, the middle, the high point, the low point, and then eventually the ascendance onto the end. That management of constant narrative tension and escalation of stakes. And at the end of it, look at the bottom of my cloak there. I have more embroidery at the bottom of my cloak now. And every time you go through your journey, more and more embroidery appears on your cloak. And if you go through the journey enough, well, eventually your cloak turns white. And you can play the game as many times as you want, but eventually your cloak turns white. Sometimes along your journey, just occasionally, you may encounter another player with a white cloak. And those are typically the ones who are most likely to go out of their way to try and help you and guide you along your path. Guide you along your journey. Because they've been through it so many times before. And that is the point of the runes. That's why the runes exist in the game, because almost nobody's going to find all the runes on their first playthrough. Almost nobody. But if you have a player with you, someone who's been through it before, and who can pass on their knowledge to you, then you find more of the collectibles, you find more of the stuff. And so the game, like, and that's the game very highly encouraging you to be that kind of supportive, like to help other players who may come after you complete the same journey as you once did. And be a comfort to them through the scary bits and up the final ascent on the mountain. And all that. And yeah, that's Journey. It's unequivocally one of the best game experiences I ever had back in the day. And no, we're not going through the whole thing again. I'm just talking about the game a little bit. It's unequivocally one of the most emotionally affecting games I ever journeyed through, because in my first playthrough, I met someone who I think, at least judging by, like, who I think was as much of a beginner as I was, because I played the game really early. And we met in the second area of the game after this one. And pretty much stuck together for the whole thing. The whole journey. And on the final ascent up the mountain, we were just like huddling in close to each other, constantly singing to each other, going up the path. And he fell over and died first, and that was the moment when the game kind of broke me, and I actually started crying. Because like the whole time I'd been like, "We'll make it, we'll fucking make it, buddy. I don't know who you are, but we're gonna make it." And then when he fell over first, and I followed shortly after, but when he fell over first, that's when I started crying on my first playthrough of Journey, because like, oh god, no! Oh, I could not handle that. So yeah, anyone tries to tell you games can't be art can, you know, play this and shut the hell up. Because this is as emotionally affecting as any book I've ever read. As any song I've ever listened to, as any play I've ever watched. So this here, I believe, is a tally of how many runes you've managed to collect through the game. And as you can see, last time we were here at the start, this place was all closed off. But now it acts as a level selection hub. So if there's one particular area you want to go through, if you want to go and find the last runes that you didn't get and stuff like that, you can do it from here. Which is a nice little quality of life thing that makes the things a little bit easier. Good little bit of game design. But yeah. That's Journey. I hope you enjoyed coming through it with me despite the technical difficulties. And I hope that you'll go and pick it up. I know it's on the Epic Game Store and that people aren't exactly super jazzed about that, but I hope you'll go and pick it up and go through it at least one time yourselves. Because, believe me when I say, it is amazingly worth it. So, that's the end of that stream. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you'll leave a like, comment, and or a subscribe down below. Whatever works for you, because those likes are useful for this channel. Because that's what tells YouTube that to show my videos to people, which is lovely. It's also on PS4, yes, as someone says in the chat. If you don't want to pay the Epic Game Store, then the PS4 has it as well. Next week, we're going to start in on this channel on Ori and the Blind Forest, assuming that I've managed to finish Final Fantasy VII Remake first. I will have. I'm going to play that quite a lot. So do come back here for even more artistic indie game that's going to make you cry. And yeah, I have a Patreon, I have a merchandise store, I have a tip jar. If you want to avail yourself of any of those, you can. There's memberships available on this channel, which gives you special icons and special emoji stuff for when we do streaming in the chat. And if you don't want to use any of that, that's okay too. Thanks for the stream, Sky. Yes, thank you, Garwelfie. Thanks for showing up. And have a good night, everybody.